This is Fearlessly Fertile.
Welcome to the Fearlessly Fertile podcast, episode 353, a not hella boring conversation about functional nutrition with Katie Keene. Loves, I'm so excited to be here with you this week as I share a very special conversation I had with my friend Katie Keene. And what I love about Katie is, look, this topic of what we eat on this journey, how we can improve our health and vitality, like it can get super overwhelming. It sounds like a lot of deprivation. And around this time of year, it can be like, nah, I'm just going to totally screw off on my diet and enjoy the holidays and all that good stuff. We can just get so exhausted by these topics. And when it seems like we're following so much rigidity on this journey, it can just be like, I'm not dealing with that. But what you're going to love about my conversation with Katie is she does not come at it from a high horse. Like she's not a high horse rider. What she is somebody who earned her expertise, not only through her education, but actually having lived a healing journey. That's what I love when it comes to experts. I only have people on this podcast that really walk the talk. And Katie found out that her body was overwhelmed with inflammation. She was gaining weight. Her health was all fucked up. PCOS, like all these autoimmune conditions. And what she was able to do was quite literally heal herself. What her mission is now is helping women heal themselves. I thought it would be a great idea to have her come on, share a little bit about herself, share about her own healing journey, and empower you to look at the subject of functional nutrition, which is deeply connected to finding root cause and is a wonderful supplement to any functional medicine stuff that you might be doing. It really takes it to the next level. We have so much information that we're having to process on this journey that when you can have somebody like Katie come in, explain these things like a human being, and really speak to the heart of why you're healing, it's truly a gift. So here is my conversation with Katie. Katie! I am so excited to have you on the podcast because I love featuring experts that have actually walked a health journey. Yeah. Because I think it brings a perspective that's not just clinical or academic. Yeah. And look, there's value to that, but I think that there is a relatability that comes from actually having done the work to heal yourself that really empowers you to not only connect with people on their own health journey, but really be able to coach at a level of knowing. Absolutely. So I'm so excited to have you. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself with a Fearlessly Fertile audience, and then we'll get to what the hell functional nutrition is. So we'll start there.
I started out maybe about 10 years ago or so now, just feeling completely off. I was gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight, and I could just never get control of what was going on. I was having tons of symptoms, fatigue, insomnia, problems with my menstrual cycle, gaining weight and losing weight. I could never keep the weight off and knew something was going on, but I really didn't know what it was. So I went to my OBGYN and she ran some blood tests and of course came back with everything looks fine every single time, 4 months. And about 6 months after that, I went back and just said, nothing's fine. I don't feel good. I need some help. I cannot keep this weight off. I know what I'm doing. I've always been educated in working out and nutrition and just nothing is working for me. And she said at that time, it's all in your head. She gave me a card to the therapist in the building next door and told me that I needed to go talk to somebody.
Shut up.
Yes. So
Shut up. Okay.
Yes.
Let me just stop you for 1 second because so many women listening to this are going to relate to that.
Yeah.
The fact that you knew something was off.
Yes.
You have somebody in a white coat with this air of authority telling you it's all in your head.
Yes.
What was that like?
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. Like I cried at that whole appointment because it was like, lady, look at me. Like, look at me. I even, there was so much weight on me at that time. I was probably at that time about 30 pounds over, but like had lost and gained, and the weight would come back so rapidly. And I was walking, lifting weights. Like I was carb cycling. I was on keto. I tried everything in the book, and the weight would just come right back. I'm not an idiot when it comes to nutrition. And I would try to explain that to her over and over. And she just did not want to hear it. She had no help for me. So fast forward, maybe like a year later, I pretty much gave up. But fast forward about a year later, I was talking to one of my friends named Roseanne Alston, and she said, you have to see my functional medicine doctor. And at that time, I was like, what is functional medicine? Like, what even is that? And you said, girl, it's going to change your life. Just go see her. And I said, I'm going to do that. So I made an appointment. I went and saw her, and I am not joking. In that appointment, it was about an hour long, taking my health history and all those things. She ordered some blood work. I went and did the blood work. And in that 1.5 years following that, I lost 50 pounds and completely fixed myself. It was insane. She diagnosed me with leaky gut, non-alcoholic fatty liver, PCOS, insulin resistance, hypothyroidism that I actually look back now and think I had since I was in my 20s. And yeah, but there was nothing wrong with me. Ask my OBGYN.
It sends me into orbit. But but clearly, like, you're not the only one. I know I certainly wasn't the only one.
No.
It blows my mind how little deference there is in traditional allopathic medicine to somebody being in tune with their body, feeling like something is off.
Yes.
And that you have to go outside of the matrix in order to find that kind of help. So, so you go to functional medicine doctor, you start working on yourself, you see these fucking incredible results.
Right.
What did you do next with that? Because clearly you did something.
Right. Oh, I didn't even mention my chronic inflammation. That was off the charts. She hadn't even seen inflammation like that on any of her patients, like in the past year. Yeah. So she literally just put me on a nutritional protocol. And like I said, I was already pretty well educated in nutrition, so that was pretty easy for me to follow. She put me on that nutritional protocol while we fixed my leaky gut, which in turn fixed my liver, and in turn took down all of my chronic inflammation. And then everything just fell into place. I'm not kidding when I say I've never had results like this before. Every single day when I got on the scale, every single day of the week, my weight was going down because my inflammation was just dropping and dropping and dropping. She put me on 2 thyroid medications to bring that back into balance. But besides that, it was all just supplements and food.
It blows my mind that in this day and age, especially, Katie, that we could go for so long in suffering and just tolerate it as normal.
Yes. And that's why after that whole experience of a 1.5 years of going through all of that, I said to my husband one day, how can I help people in the same way that I was helped by functional medicine without becoming a doctor, because I don't really have time for that or the years for that? How can I help people in the same way? So I started doing some research behind that. And I have that experience with nutrition. It's something that I studied in college and just something I was always passionate about. And literally one day just said, is functional nutrition like a thing? So I Googled that and just looked into it and looked into a bunch of different programs and landed on one that I was like, this is it. And my husband said, go for it. So I did.
Oh, so today you are helping people through functional nutrition.
Absolutely.
Wow. So what does that really mean, Katie? Because people will get online, they'll Google, they'll ChatGPT or Grok with something that says, okay, this is a functional diet. But I think you and I both know that ain't it.
No. So functional nutrition, the title is a little misleading because it sounds like, oh, I'm just a nutritionist. You're going to go to me and I'm going to, put you on a diet or whatever. It's actually very different. So functional nutrition is actually a holistic and personalized approach where you're deep diving into the root causes behind what's causing the imbalances in somebody's body and then fixing those imbalances by different protocols or like tailored nutritional plans and lifestyle strategies. So it's a lot more than just nutrition. It's your whole health history. It's the reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And then food and supplementation and lifestyle strategies behind that are what fix it exactly how I fixed myself.
I think that's really fascinating because I did nutritional testing at the beginning of this year, and people think that fixing your gut or changing your diet is a destination. And it's like, no, dude, it's a journey.
Right.
Because I had done testing in the past, but when I tested this year, my needs were completely different.
Yep.
And I was blown away by what I was sensitive to in 2025 that I was not sensitive to in 2022.
Yes.
In just that short period of time. So I think it's important that people understand that you're not going to do this for like 3 days and okay, check the box. Like this is a lifestyle change.
Right. And also a lot of the protocols that people will go on in the beginning can be temporary things. Like at first when I had to cut out gluten and dairy and eggs and sugar and alcohol and all the things, that was temporary while I was fixing my gut. But because it made me feel so good and I knew what it was doing for my body, I drug that protocol out way longer than she wanted me to. And then stopped that about around a year and a half. I decided to reintroduce some of the foods, and I reintroduced gluten as the last one. Well, my chronic inflammation spiked up again. So we knew by that my body didn't like it at all. So I cut the gluten back out. Now I'm just gluten free. I was able to introduce dairy that doesn't disagree with my body. I eat some sugar, and I don't drink alcohol anymore. That was just a choice that I made. But it's very temporary. It's not these really harsh things that people are scared to deep dive into because they think like, well, I'm not going to go the functional route because they always make you cut out everything. It's just temporary.
Well, and I think that's an important point that you're raising because people tend to think in very extreme terms of deprivation.
Right.
And it's like, hey, it ain't deprivation when you start to see a result.
Right. And when your body is not cooperating with what you're eating, it's probably something that you should stay away from.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like having retooled my own protocol this year, like I was seeing results in, I would say about 11 days.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing.
Yes.
And with stuff that I was like, WTF, like, cause we were eating very cleanly, generally speaking, like on the straight and narrow. But when I actually got information, instead of just Googling something or going to ChatGPT, I could get something that was specific to me because I had done blood work.
Right.
It gave me like, I don't know, it's like a 180-page report,
right,
like showing you all of these different either nutritional deficiencies, supplementation deficiencies, like so that you could more strategically and accurately supplement for what you need or change certain things because not everyone needs to be freaking dairy free.
No. And it can come down to, people are like nutrient deficient. It can just be because nowadays the foods that everybody's eating, all the chemicals that are in things, or even our soil is so nutrient deficient, depleted that even if you're eating clean, you can still be missing a lot of the key nutrients and your body can be reacting to that. And you don't even realize that that's what the issue is.
That's completely true. And I really encourage women to not just follow what some blog post says to do, like go and do the investigation because everybody is unique, and what worked for Jane Doe over here may not work for negative Nancy, right? Like especially on the fertility journey with this system of fertility that's so delicate and is really dependent on not being in fight or flight, because so many of the markers of inflammation can create all these different things in our nervous system. It's like, this is a whole system. We're not just talking about your uterus and your ovaries. When your body is struggling, it's going to redirect resources to something else because it's in crisis.
Yeah. That's why I like functional nutrition, because everybody's unique and it's a whole body approach. Like in my schooling, it was a total body approach. We went over, brain. Yes, we went over gut, but we went over, reproductive. We went over the endocrine system. We went over everything because everything works in sync together. And a lot of people don't really understand that. They think like, oh, well, my gut's just messed up. I'll just fix that and I'm good to go. But there's so many more issues that come up when one thing is out of balance, especially gut, since it's connected to your brain and everywhere else, that there's just more to it. And so functional nutrition is like that detective deep dive behind everything. And I can connect dots that people never even realized were there.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting that we take a look at our overall stress level. I think people accept this level of stress that if we take a step back, we look, it's actually unacceptable because that's when we start to go to convenience foods. We cut corners and, we find ourselves exhausted. It's like, when you can take an approach that you're talking about and say, nope, I'm going to make this lifestyle choice. I'm going to make this decision to do something different. It's not something that is about deprivation or being in a constant state of perfectionism, because that's the other thing that can start to happen. Is people fear going into this area because they think their life is going to be turned upside down. But you and I both, having healed in different ways, it's like, oh no. Once you start to see the result, this is not difficult. So why don't you share a little bit about some of the things that functional nutrition can help you see results with, and especially more related to fertility?
I specialize in PCOS, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and with all of that comes the insulin resistance, the inflammation, and the GI issues. Right away, when people start on a protocol and start eating better, taking the nutrients that they're deficient in, or it's not just the energy, but it's the sleep. You don't even realize sometimes how horrendous your sleep is until that's fixed. Like I suffered from horrible insomnia. That's going to get better. But also, your inflammation is going to go down. You're going to notice that in like your joints. Every morning when I woke up, my hands felt swollen and I never even put two and two together that was the inflammation. Like it just, when your fingers feel like sausages, that's what it felt like. Never dawned on me that it could be inflammation inside of my body until she pointed that out. It can be constipation, diarrhea, just any GI issues, heartburn, like the acid reflux, all of that, go along with the GI issues. But also, like with PCOS, it's going to lower the stress in your body and take a lot of those symptoms away as well. It's funny because with my PCOS, I didn't actually have a lot of the normal symptoms that people get with PCOS, but it was my insulin resistance that was the big key factor that she noticed that pointed to that. So something I work on big time is blood sugar balance. And that on its own is going to help your PCOS, but it makes you feel so much better throughout the day because those meals are balanced. You're not getting like that hangry feeling all the time that a lot of women get. It's an overall feeling in your body of just feeling better. And that is so hard to put into words because everybody is so different, but it's just feeling better.
Well, and I think to put an even finer point on that, it's freaking vitality.
Right.
And I think that for women who are struggling with fertility and women who want to give themselves the best possible chance, of conceiving, having vitality. I mean, life attracts life.
Right.
And it's so funny because I know how that feels, because I was just doing all kinds of crazy things when I was living my journey. Like nobody even talked to me, Katie, about getting any nutrition testing, nothing.
Yeah.
And they just said, oh, go eat healthy. But the reality is if you have a thyroid condition or you have certain conditions, you shouldn't be eating cruciferous veggies.
Right.
Right. Like there's
gluten. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. And so it's the more you can have real data behind what kind of protocol nutritionally or through supplements can like what's right for you, I think you can just make the best choices as opposed to just taking a shotgun approach and doing whatever.
Right. It's really working on your metabolic health, which so many women like yo-yo diet, or they're constantly just, I'm trying to get skinny. I'm trying to get skinny. It's all about their weight, but really metabolic health is everything. It's your fatigue. It's your energy. It's your sleep. It's your libido. It's your metabolism. It's all of those things. So functional nutrition helps all of that come into balance. Yeah.
But I love that you're out there sharing this because you can take it that one step beyond. I still see a functional medicine doctor, and they'll have protocols, but not the way that you will dig down and freaking nerd out.
Thing is like functional medicine doctors. Like I've even talked to my functional medicine doctor about this. It's like the nutritional protocols that you're put on a lot of times, at the doctor, people walk away not really knowing what that is. Like they'll say, oh, go more Whole30 or go paleo, but there's no specific information really behind that. And so unless you're going to come home and completely deep dive and stress out and freak out and don't know if you're following it to a T, that's what functional nutrition is for. I do that deep dive for you. And then I help you with whatever protocol that you've been put on. If you have hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's or PCOS or insulin resistance, everybody's going to be eating a different way. And that's something that I can guide you in. But also along with all of that, toxin education is something that I took a deep dive into that I add on to my program, because I just feel like functional medicine touches on that, but I go into a deep dive of education and guidance on toxins as well, because that is something that even if you are a bodybuilder and you've got it down pat and you are buff and you work out and you eat clean and you do all these things, but your body just for some reason, you have insomnia, you have some fatigue, you have these different things. People don't also realize that toxins is also completely involved in all of this as well.
That's the thing that a lot of women, I mean, especially women who are short on time and are super busy, you think you can go to a jack of all trades, right? And it's not the way to go. The reality is that you're going to bring in a functional medicine doctor for one specific task. Mm-hmm. You're going to bring in Katie Keene, functional nutrition expert, in for another thing, because everyone is going to offer you something different in your healing journey. And that's what I love about, going to somebody like you that is very narrow in scope. You don't use a scalpel for everything, right? Yeah. You use a scalpel for certain things and other tools for others. And I think it's really cool to be able to narrow down with somebody that's a subject matter expert on that specific topic.
Right. I have functional medicine doctors that are now referring their clients to me because they realize that the information that they were getting is just a little broad and people need so much more help, or they walk away so frustrated that they end up giving up on the protocol and they end up not fixing the issue that they went to the doctor for, that they spent so much money on trying to help, but then there's no follow through.
I think you raise another good point there, is that the reality is that the current medical system is not geared toward this kind of information. You have to go outside of it. You'll get some very general information that never quite hit the mark. Look, the average model is to say, is this covered by my insurance? And it's like, Do you think your insurance company cares about whether or not you're well?
No.
Right? They don't.
They don't want to get you off all those medications. Are you kidding?
Yeah, because they get a kickback for that stuff.
Exactly.
The reality is that if you want to have a fresh perspective, you have to get outside of the system.
Right.
And I think one of the most empowering things that any woman can do on her fertility journey or any healing journey that she's on is get out of the system. Start looking for the truth that's outside of the system, the often inconvenient truth that says you can heal, you can make these adjustments. It doesn't have to be painful. It can actually be fun. I mean, ladies, those of you listening, like, I know Katie from way back, and she's one of the most relatable, hilarious people. We actually both have a background in law enforcement and criminal justice. I think that watching you in your own transformation and having had to heal on your own gives you a relatability and frankly, softer touch that I think is really needed out there. You know, as people break out of the matrix and they start to explore functional medicine and root cause, and then thereby functional nutrition, you really do need some hand holding. I know there are people that were hard-headed like me, an attorney, like, I can pass the California bar. I don't need all this. And it's like, what are you talking about? Right. You are a subject matter expert in what you do. But when it comes to this, we have to have the humility to be able to take a step back and say, actually, I don't know much.
Right. Right. I like to take the approach with people of giving you as much assistance or as little assistance as you want. Like if I give you all the information and you want to run with that and you only want to do those 30-minute check-ins once a month, totally fine with me. But if you're also that person that you're at the grocery store and you're freaking out because you're like, is this salad dressing clean? I can't tell. Like I allow access to me by my clients when they need it, because I totally understand what it's like going through this. And the changes that I want these women making are for life, not just a temporary diet or a temporary thing like 30 to 60 days or the 12 weeks that I work with somebody or the 6 months that I work with somebody and then you're done. No, there's no end goal to this thing. The end goal is the rest of your life. And hopefully that's a very long life. That's where we're trying to go. It is for life. And what is great about it is you're now going to know how to feed your kids, how to feed your family, how to remove the toxins from your house that are going to disrupt your daughter's hormones or your son's hormones or, causing all those respiratory problems or other things that happen with toxic chemicals in your home or on personal care products and in your foods. So I like to give everybody like a well-balanced overall education, and then they can do with that what they want, but it's for life. It's for your family's life. Like it's kind of it's for you, but it's really for everybody in your household when it comes down to it, because you're going to be learning how to cook the right kinds of foods that your whole family is going to want to eat and should be eating, because it's going to fix their health in turn.
I think that's an extremely important point as well, because when I started making changes, even the changes that I made this year in 2025, it had a ripple effect. Yeah. We slowly started to remove, I was already gluten-free, but we started to remove gluten from our house. And now Brandon, he can't be stopped with his cookies, right? Like, so he's not giving that up too easily.
Brandon, I'm going to mail you some gluten-free cookies that are actually good.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny though, because I'll modify things and then he's like, oh, this is good. And he doesn't know that it's gluten-free. And it's like, he kind of looks at me.
You just don't tell them. They don't know the difference because it's good.
They don't. Yeah.
I always tell the kids, I tell the girls, like, do I cook anything disgusting? Just eat it. Just eat it. You're going to like it. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. And they always like it.
I love your point about it's for your family, because the women listening to this are nuanced enough to understand that everything that you're doing isn't just about getting pregnant and clearing that inflammation that can be giving your body the wrong message and saying it's not safe to get pregnant. What you're doing is creating an environment before you get pregnant, when you get pregnant, for the duration of your pregnancy, that's not only good for you, but it's good for your unborn baby. This is the kind of thing, exactly to your point, that ultimately has a ripple effect throughout their entire lives. I mean, you would be so proud of Asher. He actually reads labels. Like he's walked away.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He kind of, when we were telling him about food dyes, like, and explaining to him how dangerous they were, he kind of freaked out, like
right.
in a good way.
Some of the info can be a little bit scary, like for kids. I mean, it is a little hard, but like you want them to be educated about it. Like the girls always say like, Mom, there was red dye 40 in that. So I did not touch it. And I'm like, good girls.
Well, but what that does is empower them.
Right.
So Asher freaked out when we told him a little bit about that, but he felt empowered. And so now he's learned, and he's only 8, to look at a label and decide for himself if there's soy in there, if he wants to eat something with soy in it.
Right.
And if he makes a decision that that's not for him. I mean, I make that decision when I'm with him, like he's not eating soy, but that he's empowered when he is at school. If there are treats available, that he can make a really educated decision, and not just out of dogma, but understand why he's making that choice. I mean, it builds confidence in them. It builds authority, license, and agency that I think is beyond their years, but it, is really
well, and then just
them.
that ripple effect you were talking about. Just imagine now Asher, when he gets married and has kids, he's now going to pass that on to I know. I can't even picture it. But that wife of his that you're going to.
She better be a good cook, and she better have gone through Katie's program.
Yeah, she better have. But like he'll be able to pass that on to his family, and from the time his children are born. Like they're going to be in a non-toxin environment, eating healthy foods. And that is just so much better for the bloodline if you think about it.
It really does become a mother's responsibility to begin to educate herself, so that before you're pregnant, during your pregnancy, after your pregnancy, and into your motherhood, that you're making really great choices. So why don't you share with the women listening a little bit about how you work, where to find you, and how somebody can get started?
Okay. So my website has all the information about the 2 different programs that I run. So I run a program called the Total Body Reset. That is a 12-week program, or you can extend that program and turn it into a 6-month program. And that's the Total Body Reset VIP. So the program pretty much breaks down. I meet with the client, over Zoom, and we go through a full in-depth assessment that is your whole entire health history, very similar to what they would do at functional medicine. At that time is when I completely break down the program for you, explain to you exactly what we're going to be doing in the amount of time that we're together, and also go over all of your goals, because not everybody wants to lose weight. Not everybody, has the same issues. So then I will functionally read your most current lab work that you have. If you don't have lab work, that can be ordered. That is an additional cost. But lab work can be one of those things that you went and got it done at your regular doctor or your OBGYN. They told you, like they had told me, everything looked fine. But I can look at it through a functional lens and tell you, well, this may be in range for what your doctor learned in medical school, but functionally it's not, because it's not optimal for your body. If you're having all the symptoms of something, but your blood work is coming out fine, we're still going to work with that.
I love that you focus in on that too, because when I started seeing, and it's so interesting to me, when I started seeing functional medicine practitioners, and I would hear somebody say, well, yeah, that's within range, but you have to understand those ranges are based on sick people. And I was like, oh,
I also learned recently that the ranges that they look at are based on a certain age range in the state that you live in. So it can be completely different all across the whole country also. Which makes zero sense.
Wow. So you can be living in this subclinical state.
Right.
For a period of and have no idea.
That's the reason why they're telling you like, well, you're within range. And you want to go like, what range is this? Because I feel like garbage. What range are you reading? Anyway, so then what we'll do
go through that in your program.
Yeah. So then what we'll do is we will address your gut health. A lot of people also don't realize they have gut health problems because nowadays, acid reflux or getting bloated, constipation, diarrhea, all those things. Everybody's like, it's so normal. That's just normal. I always have reflux. I've had it since I was younger, or I have always had, stomach aches after I ate dairy, or I get bloated every single night after I eat dinner, or, oh yeah, I've suffered with constipation. I go to the bathroom every 3 days. I've been like that for years now. It's just my normal. Yeah, that's not normal. That's not normal. I don't want you to think that's normal. I don't know who told you that was normal. Please don't believe that's normal. We're going to address your gut health, whether you think there's something going on or not, because every single person on earth who consumes food, period, has something going on in their gut. It just is what it is nowadays with food, period. It just is what it is.
Well, and it's good to have a baseline, right? So that you can eliminate some of these things. Ladies, I'm telling you, having done this myself, there is so much relief and a sense of control and a sense of direction that comes from taking the time to investigate this and walking through this in the way that Katie's talking about.
Right. From there, we'll move on to a very individualized, tailored nutrition plan or protocol, especially just for you because of the things that we learned in your health history, through your blood work, through what I know about your gut health. That nutrition plan is going to be tailored just to you. And I'm going to be able to walk you through that with teaching you about meal prepping or ingredient prepping, meals for your family, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack ideas. I'm not going to just throw it at you and leave it to you to figure it out. That's something that I'm going to completely walk you through and hold your hand if you want the hand holding. And then at the very end, I do a very deep dive on the toxin education. I feel like that nowadays is something that not a lot of people know about, but that everybody needs to be educated about, because you need to decide in your family what toxins you want to be exposed to. And you may not even understand that you're being exposed to as many toxins as you're being exposed to. Like a little fun fact that I like to tell people is, do you wet dust in your house? And they say, what does wet dusting mean? I say, do you dry dust? And they say, yeah, I dry dust all the time. But do you wipe the same surfaces down with a wet cloth afterwards? No. Why would I do that? Because there are so many toxins from your air in your house, from the cleaners that you use, from your skin. If you're using toxic chemicals on your skin sheds. Those dust particles are just sitting toxins in your house, and you're breathing that every day. Totally insane. So I love to go on that deep dive, but I also like to explain to people, don't stress out too much about the toxins, because you're going to kill yourself from stress quicker than the toxins are going to kill you. So it's very much about that 80-20 when it comes to products. Like if you've tried every single mascara that's clean on the market and you're just like, girl, I got to go back to my whatever mascara, use the mascara. But as long as you're cutting out as many things as you can, not even fully non-toxic, just lowering your toxins in the products that you're using, you're winning. You're winning.
I think that's so smart. And I love the bespoke white glove option for working with you, because and I'm the kind of person that like, look, I don't have time to figure this out on my own. And nor do I have any interest. I want to go to an expert, tell me what to do. Right. I'm going to do it because I don't have time to go.
Right. And not a lot of people like to nerd out and deep dive into things. I just happen to be one of those people that when I want to know about something, I have to know everything about the subject. And I like teaching about it, and other people just like, that's so far out of the realm of what they've got room in their brain for. Like they need an expert to give them the information and walk them through it and make it happen. And then you're going to know the stuff, after I teach it to you, but it's the hand holding along the way that will,
I think that's important for accountability as well, to really get on board with that and to really get into a place where not only are you having this testing done, that you're learning exactly what to do with it, how to empower yourself, have accountability, have a place to go with your questions, that isn't just some canned solution, but that is truly bespoke and white glove. That always gets me when I hear those things. I'm all over it.
Right.
So that's great. And we're going to put a link to your website in the show notes. What are some points that you would like the women listening to take away from our conversation here when it comes to functional nutrition?
Well, first of all, it's nowadays everybody thinks that not sleeping, being tired all the time, being stressed all the time is normal. It's normal. All of these imbalances that people are feeling nowadays, it's almost like you just get so used to it that it's your normal. It's not normal. I don't want anybody to ever think that they can't live their optimal life, that they can't feel great all the time and have their energy back and be able to play with their kids or, not fall asleep on the couch at night at 7:00 after their exhausting day at work. Like it doesn't have to be that way. And I just want women to get that feeling that I had when I finally put all those pieces together and like the whole puzzle of what was going on and fixed it. And it was amazing. Like I feel 20 years younger. I can't believe that all of these things were wrong with me. And it just doesn't have to be that way. All of us should be in our optimal health where we are living our best lives and we have that longevity. Like when we have kids, we want our family to have us around for a very long time. I want to be around for my grandkids. That's super important to me. So it's not about being skinny. It's not about being on a diet. It's about fixing yourself from head to toe, inside out, and just being the best version of yourself that you can be.
Ooh, I love that. And the women in my community, we all have an agreement that we're all going to live to 130. We're going to be beautiful. We're going to be rich. Everything's going to be working out for us.
Yeah.
And I think what you teach and what you do in the world is such an integral aspect of that. So thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great. And I really am inspired by what you're doing. And I really hope that the women reach out to you, bust down your door and really get that kind of support that is so necessary to be making educated choices about how to support themselves in this area. And I just think it's great. So thank you for coming on.
Of course. You can also go on my website. I do a free 30-minute consultation for anybody that wants to discuss the program before committing and signing up for something and see if we're right to work together.
I think that's so smart. It's got to be a fit, but I know that working with you is going to be fantastic. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roseanne.
Loves, wasn't my conversation with Katie absolutely fantastic? I love that we could talk about the subject of functional nutrition and doing right by ourselves, our bodies, and our babies, our families in a way that's approachable and is being taught by somebody who really lived a healing journey. Man, that gives you some massive street cred. So I hope that you check out Katie's work. We're going to have a link to her website and contact information in the show notes. So do not forget to reach out to Katie. She's going to be an amazing partner with you and helping you work on the physical stuff. Just as important as the physical is what's going on between your ears. And if you want my help with that, go to www.frommaybe2baby.com and apply for an interview there. My methodology has helped women around the world make their mom dreams come true, and their results speak for themselves. If you don't have a mindset for success in this journey, baby, you got to keep it whole in your strategy. You want to have the whole approach. Mind and body work together. Your body follows your mind, sister. So go to www.frommaybe2baby.com. Don't start 2026 off in chaos and no plan. You want to be the woman who says a big hell yes to making 2026 your year. Till next time, change your mindset, change your results.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.